For our project this week, we're going to be using Google Map. We're going to create this little application. It looks like this. When the program first starts out, it's going to take and show a little marker here where the GRCC main campus is. And then when we push this button up here, it's going to put another marker in here. It says you are here because it's figured out where our location is because your Android tablet can do that, or phone. And it's also going to say it's so many miles away, and it gives you the address of your current location. This is actually my home address because that's where I'm running it from right now. Now it's not actually mileage because it doesn't plot out along the roads. It's actually doing it as the crow flies. So you actually have to walk through the woods in everybody's backyard to get there in 5.4 minutes. To do it the other way, I left some breadcrumbs for you at the end of the assignment to kind of tell you how to do that. So let's go ahead and start a new project and use an empty one this time because I'm going to show you how to put a map into your activity. This is called as distance from GRCC, like that. Make sure you're at least 17 for this, okay? Because they say it doesn't work well with the maps in the lower API levels. Say finish. I'm going to quick zip through this a little bit. We're going to be using this Google Map. We're going to be using the location manager to actually take and find out where we are. It'll give us a latitude and longitude. And then we're going to use a section called geocoder that will actually take latitude and longitude and turn it into a street address for us. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, let's do it. Let's start out by taking and copying this right here. We have to implement two things into our Gradle. Put up our Gradle here. The second one down, the module app, double click on that. All the way down the bottom, we're going to take and add a couple of things to the bottom there. Once we do that, we have to sync now, of course, because it downloads these little classes that helps to build this stuff. One of them is for the map, that actually gives us the map. The other one is the location, that actually gives us our current location right now based on latitude, longitude. Wonderful. The next thing we have to do is we have to put some, right here, we're going to put some permissions into our manifest. Double click on that line, it says manifest, and we're going to paste that one right here, right after the package. Control V it right in there like that. This allows us to get permission from our Android tablet to be able to use its find location devices within our tablet or our phone. If you don't do this, it won't work, okay? Make sure you get that in there. The next thing we have to do is we have to apply this key, okay? This API key. That goes in. Remember how you did that earlier this week? Hopefully you got it done. That's going to go in just after the theme line here, like that, okay? And once paste your key in, hopefully you have a key. If not, I got a temporary one out here. I don't know how long it's going to last because I already canceled it, and they only last about 30 days after you cancel it. I'm going to copy mine in. You can copy yours in if you have one. If you don't have one, this one might work for a little bit yet. Just like that, okay? And now that gives you the ability to use your map. If you don't have this in here, you will not show a map when you start up your program. You can go ahead and load up your program. Oh, excuse me, no, we aren't ready yet. Okay, we got a couple other things to do here. We're going to add these widgets into our main, okay? I actually gave you the code because this layout's a little bit funny. Boy, the layout is like a whole new, we could spend I don't know how many weeks just playing around with layouts, okay? But anyway, we get to that by going to our activity.xml, go to the text, Control A, Control V. We're going to copy that all in there and we'll see what I got. What I did, let me make this a little bigger so we can see it a little better. What I did is I added a linear layout, okay? Linear layouts are nice when you're going to line up a bunch of things in a row across from each other, okay? And so I did that because then I could put my button and my text view right in line with each other, and they'll stay right there. Look at my map here, okay? How do you put a map in? You can't actually get it from Google Map View, but I took and actually added it like this, okay? I believe this gives you more functionality, but I pasted it in here outside of my linear layout. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to have my map, and superimposed upon that will be this linear layout. So my buttons and my button and my text view will be actually on top of my map, which works out kind of nice in this situation. So anyway, I kind of gave you that. Hopefully that'll help you to kind of develop your own ability to design your activity layouts. The next thing we want to do right here, when we created that real easy map application, okay, it actually had a map activity, okay. In our case, our main activity is just a regular main activity. What we want to do is we want to inherit capabilities that will allow us to use our map in here. So we're going to take and replace that with that one line. Little Alt Enter here to import some classes. Same thing for this one here. Now we got a big error here because it says, well, when you implement this, you got to call this method, okay? So if you drop down this little red light bulb here and say implement methods, okay, just say okay, and it's going to take and add this one method. Now what happens is that when we first start up our app, our map isn't completely ready, okay? So this is like after it's done, it is ready, and now we can do these things. So we're going to add some code in there once that map is available and ready for us to use. Scroll down a little bit here. Our next thing we're going to do is throw in a couple global variables. Control C. Those are going to go right here, just like that. Once again, a little Alt Enter to get that imported to class. A lat long is actually a class that has the ability to store a latitude and longitude. And we're going to create an instance of it. We're going to call it GRCC, and here is the latitude and longitude of GRCC. If you Google, give me the latitude and longitude of an address, you're going to see there's several sites where you can actually type in this case, community college's main campus address, and it gave me the latitude and longitude for that. It's a really nice way to store things like that. And also we're going to create a global Google map that we're going to be able to use when we add markers to our map and things like that. Next thing we got to do, scroll down a little bit. We're going to take and we're going to implement this map fragment, okay, and put a handle on it right there. Right there, just like that, okay. Once again, a little bit of Alt Enter on there, like that. What that does is that actually takes and loads that map in the background. It actually takes and runs this piece of code here for us too. It gets this going, and once the map is ready, then the map will actually run this code for us. Once again, we're doing that in the onCreate because we want to do that when our map is created. Go ahead and do this, call this method, have it do this stuff in the background. When it's done, it will look like it's supposed to. All this, of course, happens really quickly. Scroll down a little bit. Section right here. We're going to take this and put this into our on map ready code right there. Boom. That method right there. Once again, a couple of Alt Enters to get things up and running here. Import class. A little bit of straighten things out a little bit. Okay, so once this map is ready to go, what do we want it to do? We want it to move the camera, okay? And where are we going to set it? We're going to set it at that lat long GRCC, that latitude and longitude for that, okay? So it actually takes and moves the camera to that location, which will be over top of Grand Rapids. And then we can zoom in here. 12, I believe 15 is the highest you can zoom. 12 is out just a little bit so you don't see all the streets, but you can see a little more distance, okay? You can play around with that if you want to zoom in and out. You can also do this animated camera thing. A lot of times you see that in Google Maps on the internet, where it's taking, looks like it's sliding around the globe and then zooming in, okay? Play with that. You might enjoy that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the marker for GRCC here, okay? Google Map, okay, Google Map right here. Dot add marker, a new marker, and what we're going to do is we're going to position it at, there we go, that lat long GRCC that we created up here, right there. Boom, okay, and we're going to give it a title, and it's going to say, this is the GRCC main campus. Now, in this case, you can run it, okay, and when it's up and running and you see that marker, if you touch that marker with your finger, you'll actually see it show up, GRCC main campus. Go ahead and run it. Wonderful. Now, rather than showing Africa and South America, it's actually going to zoom into Grand Rapids right here. You aren't going to see this right here because we haven't coded this yet, and you aren't going to see this either yet. And if you push this button, nothing happens. But it's starting to get pretty cool, isn't it? Amazing. A little bit of code, what you can't do with this Google Maps. I'm really very impressed. Okay, we added our widgets. Let me get down to the right spot here again. We did that, we did that, we did that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and code a bunch of methods. I created a bunch of methods. Yeah, what I tried to do is break them out and make a method so I can kind of break down and show you what each one of this doing rather than just throwing them all in together. This right here we're going to paste just above the last curly brace right there. Just like that. And once again, we're going to have to take in, we're going to have to add some, let's see, right there, location. We'll talk about all this stuff. Import a class, address, import a class, show coder, import that class, locale, class, exception. Looks like I missed a list up there, didn't I? Each one of these got to be alternate entered, okay, to get the class in there. Wonderful. When you're all done, you shouldn't end up with any errors in your activity main. Give you a couple different methods here. The first one is to get distance, okay, and this actually calculates the difference between two latitudes and longitudes, okay. Yeah, it just gives you the location distance, okay. The second one, it uses this geocoder, which is really cool because it will give you different things like a full address, a zip code, a country, state, city. This is all of a latitude and longitude, okay? And let's see, a street name, house number, street address, things like that, okay? And what it does, it gives you a list of these things, and you can see, okay, if I want to have the full address, then I use 0 and all these different things, okay? Geocoder, once again, is a class that Google gives you that actually has all this information in it. I don't know how it works, but it works really cool, okay? Then what it does is it creates an instance of a class called address. Address actually has all this information into it. For example, a street name and things like that. And let's see, normally you would use it like this, but in this case, I actually want to wrap it. So what I did is I broke it down based on a comma, okay, based on this comma right here. So what I did is I moved this to the next line using a next line symbol. But normally we just return it as an address like this. Okay, and one more thing down here. This creates a new map marker, okay? I thought I'd break this out just so you can see what actually does this. And it's a couple of different things. You have to use this support map fragment class first of all, and you can just take your map dot add marker. Notice once again, here's that global mmap that I'm using up here that I created up here. Right there, okay, wonderful. And I can send it a latitude and latitude, longitude, and a string for a title, and it'll create a new one for me using that. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and use some of this stuff now. Got one more piece of code right here. Make sure you get that last curly brace. That'll mess you up. If you miss that last curly brace, you won't know where your error is. Done it before. I'm going to put this just above my override on maps and map ready right there. Just like that. Once again, we got all kinds of fun alt enters. Add this class. Add this class. Package manager. We'll talk about these in a minute. That one right there. Location services. Task. And on success listener. And we got a couple text views in there, don't we? Yeah. Okay, just like that. Now remember earlier in our, where's our app right here, okay? This right here, the services location, we're going to be using that right here. Let's see, this method is called get and display current locations, okay? And let's see, it first of all goes out and checks permission. You're supposed to do this. That's supposedly just the way they do it, okay? We're going to check to make sure that our find location is permissions granted, which of course we did inside of our Android manifest, didn't we? Okay, now we're going to create an instance of this class Fuse Location Provider Client. Once again, that's that Google class, okay, Google Map class that we're using. And we're going to create this task, okay, that's going to get the last location, okay, and the task is going to be on success listener right here, on success, okay. This takes a little time to happen in the background, so you can't just code it in straight. You can't just say, well, return me the latitude, longitude, because once again, Android tablets and phones are very busy and they don't have time to wait. So that happens in a thread in the background. But once that's completed, once you have what's called a location, now a location is actually just a latitude and longitude, okay? You can get those pieces of information from there. Once you have that, let's create a new lat long or lat long because they're handy to use. And we're going to say, okay, create a new lat long latitude longitude based on location right here. That's passed to us. Dot get latitude and get longitude right there. Okay. And then we're going to use these methods. Okay. I'm going to create a new map marker there based on the current latitude, longitude, send that, plus also you are here. And then I'm also going to create a new string of address, get address, and once again, I can just send it my latitude, longitude, get current location, and it will return a nice address for me. And the same thing for my distance here. I use that method that I paste in here called get distance, and I give it my current latitude, longitude, and also give it GRCs, and it will calculate for me that distance. And then I just take my text view here, I put some text in it, and I print it out using this nice little string format, okay, kind of like a printf that we use sometimes in Java. Anyway, it's almost ready to run. The only thing is we have to call this method, don't we? Let's go back here. I think I got one piece of code down here, right there. That's going to go in our on create right below this where we create this alias and run our map fragment right there. Once again, Alt Enter to get that button to work. And a view here. Like that. Wonderful. What we're going to do here is you're just going to take and create an alias for that button and create an on-click listener and run this code that we just, this method that we just pasted in right here. Go ahead and run it. I know we ran through it really quick. I wish I had more time to talk to you about it, but it's been 19 minutes and I think this video is long enough. Hopefully your project runs and let me know if it doesn't.